Hello and welcome into the Bulldog Blitz. I'm Gerhard Mathangani, joined in by Anniston head coach Eddie Bullock. And coach, you're now 2 weeks into the season. You played your first region game. We'll get into that region game against Mortimer Jordan in just a second. But first, coach, your overall thoughts about stepping into the region here in week 2.
Well, I was glad to get into it. I felt like it would be a little tough, and we were trying to get prepared for it. A little tougher game than we thought. Being on the road, but good experience for us, and I think it's going to kind of give us focus for the rest of the season.
This new Class 5A Region 6, the only teams that you're really super familiar with from East Alabama are Alexandria and Lincoln, who both moved over from Class 4A to Class 5A. A team like Mortimer Jordan, they were kind of new.
Right. I had never seen them play before, and it was just kind of trying to get a feel for them. The only thing you could go by was what was on film, and I didn't know anything about them, so basically, it was kind of a new experience for us.
Talk about, being able to go on the road, obviously for the first time and the challenge that presented.
Well, first challenge it presented, we had to find the place. I'd heard of the school but never been there, so we kind of spent about 20 minutes trying to find the place, so it kind of put us a little bit behind schedule, and then the distance of the travel. Most of the other schools we were familiar with, and we kind of could base our itinerary on, being at the school. But, right now, this new year, not only with 5A classification learning the schools, but we have to learn the distance and actually where the schools are located, and become familiar with that. So it's all a learning process.
They say, in week 1 to week 2 is obviously a huge changeover as far as the way you want to improve and the way you want to see your guys play. Talk about some of the things you've seen on the field, on some things on film that you saw from your team from week 1 to week 2.
Well, we played a little bit better than we did last week. We still got down in the first quarter, and that was due to, unfamiliarity of the team. But basically, what we want to do is kind of get to where we can narrow that gap. The week before last, we kind of got ourselves in a deep hole. And this week, we were down, but, we had some opportunities where we got in the red zone and we could have scored, and that gap should have been closer. But, it's just a growing process for us.
One of the things we talked about last week, we'll probably talk about it for a lot this season, is just the youth and experience of this football team. And you have a lot of guys that are contributing, that are freshmen, sophomores, and juniors that are getting really their first, experience overall. Talk about just the way those guys are progressing and some of the things you see, some bright spots here in the first 2 weeks.
They doing pretty well. We were able to attack them on the outside and show some of our speed. And then we actually had on a lot of our power game, we had opportunities for big plays, but we would miss 1 or 2 blocks maybe. And, those are things that you expect out of younger kids. But, as we move into the season, we expect to clean that up a little bit.
Absolutely. Last year, always the region plays just always get so tough, towards the end. Talk about, obviously one game is never going to make or break a season.
Right.
But, talk about just your viewpoint as you now head into week 2 of region play.
Well, I explained to the guys before, my first year coaching, we won the region. We were 7-0, and the next year we won it. We were 6-1, and basically, 1 or 2 losses, does not cost you an opportunity to make it to the playoffs. But you want to win as many games as possible, so you're assured that, home field advantage in the playoffs. And basically, we still got a chance. We take it week to week, and we considering this Friday coming up as a, second starting point for us, and we're going to take it from there.
Absolutely. Coming up next here on the Bulldog Blitz, we'll have first half highlights of Anniston's big game against Mortimer Jordan. Week 1 of the region play, you will see those highlights coming up next.
Go! Let's go! Get down! Get down!
Welcome back to the Bulldog Blitz. Take a look at first half highlights of Anniston's first road game of the season at Mortimer Jordan. And Coach, talk about some of the things that you wanted to see out of your ball club out of the gate.
Okay, well, as you can see, we won the toss and we deferred to the second half. We kind of lost a little lane integrity right here. Right here, they ran a reverse on us, and basically wing T formation, and we kind of got out of position, and we were able to saved a touchdown there, but here they came back and ran the option out of the wing tee. And normally when you run the option, you have to kind of prepare for it, and so everybody's familiar with the assignments and all, but it was something we had to get used to, and we kind of got off the bat. As you can see here, they, from the film that they received, they wouldn't kick it deep because they knew Tay Miller was a threat, and so they stayed away from him. And the kid that just punted the football, Devin Campbell, he gave us a great kicking game. You know, he started fullback, and right here you can see again we had they're in the wing T formation, and we basically, it's just something that you have to make adjustments to. And you know, right here we sort of stuffed it in the backfield, but as the game went on, we were able to lock out our assignments and be able to, you know, take care of the gaps in the areas that we needed to. And right here we kind of had a busted play. You know, we didn't maintain containment on the backside, and we gave them a touchdown on the cutback play here. And of course, they went for two again, and they went on unbalanced formation, and they were actually able to score on us right here. And right here, they kicked away from us again. That's Jay Brown. They kicked it too. All the kicks were short and gave us good field position. Right here, you see Devin Campbell, number 28 with the football, cutback, made a great run, a big gain right there. And of course, we went to the passing game right here, and they were giving us the cornerbacks were playing back deep off of us, so we went to the short passing game. Right here, I believe on 3 or 4 consecutive plays, we hit DeMonte Mill, and the quarterback got a little greedy right there and tried to go deep, and you know, he threw an interception, but they were giving us the short route. Right here, you can see a wheel route, and cornerback, we had worked on that in practice. The cornerback kind of bit in on the curl route, and we actually gave up the wheel route, which he should have been in his deep third. Right here again, we just took what they gave us. They kind of gang tackled DeMonte Mill and caused the fumble. We were able to hold him up and make a punt again. And so right here, you know, we got the football and we got on the move, and then we had to turn it over on down. That was probably defense. We got a good pass rush by Tyler Johnson, man. He forced the fumble on that particular play, and we came back again, and as you can see, DeMonte Miller, he working the sideline. You know, we was taking what the cornerback give us, you know, and that's something we got to work on him with right there. You know, he cut back to the middle of the field. We're trying to get him to turn it out and get what he can and get out. This is the third pass of that series, and you know, we get him out again, and we come right back, and got the same situation here. Looking for him on that pass, and he ran a go route, and that was fourth down, and we had to roll out to the other side. This is another series right here, but actually we're still working the short game here. And right there you can see the reverse again on us. We turned the ball over in the last minute again on downs, and so we just took a knee to go in at halftime to kind of minimize the damage there. You don't want to go back in. We gave up a touchdown inside 1 minute, and those are backbreakers there. So
Right. We ask this, you know, every week at halftime, if what you saw was what you expected, kind of what you saw on the field from what you saw all week in preparation.
No, actually not, because be totally honest with you, we prepared for the spread game, you know, which we saw on film, and when we came out, we saw a totally different team. You know, they ran strictly wing T formations, and wing T formation is something that you have to prepare for, and you know, most teams don't go in and just pick formations at random to prepare for. You usually go by what you see on film, and you know, that's basically what we did. So we had to kind of make adjustments during the game, and at halftime, you know, you'll see the second half that we made some adjustments and we were able to slow them down. Absolutely,
and when you talk about just the adversity that brings whenever you see something on the field that's, you know, you prepared all week to see these formations because you've seen them on film, and that's what you studied for 15 plus hours of the week, and then you go out there and it's a little bit different. Just talk about just the element of maturity that it takes in order to adjust and say, hey guys, we're not completely out of this, let's go play ball.
It takes a tremendous amount of maturity. My Mike linebacker, Jalen Parker, you know, I could look in his eyes and see he was a little confused, because when he basically went on the field, he saw nothing that he had seen in practice all week, you know, in film preparing. And I had to kind of comfort him a little bit and tell him it was okay because, you know, basically what we had prepared for was what we saw on film, and that we just going to make the adjustment at halftime. And I told him, I said, all I need you to do is just fight. If you just fight, you know, we'll fix the rest. And I could see the calmness kind of come over him. So it's very frustrating, and he's one of the top players. So you can imagine how the younger players felt, you know, when they, you know, was out in unfamiliar territory. They didn't know what they were looking for, you know.
Right. And actually you come back in the second half, and your guys actually come back and actually win the second half. If you take a look at the scores, just, you know, straight up, you win the second half 8-7. Really, when you see that, does that kind of give you hope for what that means for going forward?
It does, and that's exactly what we explain to the kids. You know, if you take away the first half, or if you put together the second half and match it actually with the first half, that we would win the game, you know, give or take a touchdown or two, because, you know, we had to go in and re-prepare the second half for, you know, totally different offense that we hadn't seen, you know. So we felt good about it, and we just, you know, we learned from it and we moved on.
Absolutely. You'll see exactly how they did that coming up next year on the Bulldog Blitz. But before we go to break, take a look at the Anniston High School Marching Band playing over at Mortimer Jordan Stadium. Welcome back to the Bulldog Blitz, week 2 of the high school football season. Anniston coach Eddie Bullock with us in the studio. Second half highlights here, Coach. You go down there, do nothing but actually make, you know, some big time plays here to begin the game.
Well, the first play here was LJ Hurd. We ran a jet right, you know, to take advantage of his speed, and he actually gets us in the red zone again, but we had a couple of holding calls, so we come back to the left side with the same play with Hakeem Ross, who's doing a tremendous job for us, and he got us some yards. So right here you can see we ran the zone read with the quarterback, and you know, we got some good yardage on this, and of course our drive stalled, and we got a great kick out of Devin Campbell right here. So you can see as they're coming out now, we're making adjustments, and this is how the wing T offense should be played. And you know, we had people in the cutback lanes back waiting for them. And right here you see, of course, we hit the quarterback, actually causes a fumble right there because we had our assignments down, and of course we forced them to punt the football. And they kicked it back to DeMonte Miller. And you know, it's another area we got to work on. We're trying to get him to get the football and just attack straight up field. And so we came back. And that was one of the problems that we had last week with high snaps. You know, we've been working on that, doing over 200 snaps a day to try to get the snaps right. But, you know, he actually, DeMonte Miller ended up getting the first down right here. And we ended up having to punt the football. But as you can see right here, we kind of laid in the hat to them right here because they are adjusted right now. And we made a mistake here. There's one play we didn't see the first half. The quarterback ran the counter option, and they scored on us on the counter option, and that was the only touchdown that we gave up. We had outside linebacker that got out of position, and he actually ran to the middle of the field. And of course, you can see here we're still gaining. We were able to move the football, you know, at random as we wanted to. But right here, we were kind of moving the football down, and quarterback kind of threw in the double coverage here, and that stalled that particular drive right here. But as you can see again, we were able to get in and create problems for them, and we got the football back, and we got LJ Hurd right here. He makes a great cut, great speed. He's a sophomore. He's going to be a great back. He got 2 more years. And, you see Jermaine Akers here. He makes a good run to the outside. He runs trap really well. Of course, we come in, play action, and get DeMonte Miller on the top. Had to wait on the pass a little bit, but we led him a little bit. He would have walked in the end zone. And of course, right here, we just came right in, knocked them off the football. We ran 2 consecutive leads. We were able to score on them, and we ran 2 points. Saw Edward in the back left-hand corner. We were able to convert on that. So, we were proud of that. It kind of gave us a little insight. And as you can see right here, we got some of the younger guys in right here to get them some playing time. But we were able to shut down some of the things they were doing, and we kind of played them pretty even the third quarter, and basically, that's what we were looking to do the whole game.
Yeah, we mentioned it before. Really, 8-7 is your score in the second half once you figured out what they were doing. And, and it seemed to me that the physicality never really left the ball game, never really left the defense.
Well, we play that way, and that was one of my challenges to them, because when you bring a young ball team in at halftime, the first thing I did was look in their eyes to see, and I could tell they were a little bit confused, and the coaches were actually confused too, because, like I said, we had spent, 4 or 5 days preparing for one thing, and when you walk out on the field and you see something else, it's just, it's just mind-boggling. So, but I told the coaches, if the kids see us confused, they're going to be confused. So we just got to go in and fix it, and we went in, and I thank my coaching staff for that, because they took a positive attitude, and we just went in and, we didn't complain about it. We just said, this is what we need to do, and we made adjustments.
Absolutely. Talk about some key performers that played really well the entire first week.
Well, of course, DeMonte Miller played well. He was able to get off on the football. They were going to play him deep because they saw he was a threat. And Elijah Jackson, we call him Pee-wee, but Pee-wee plays both sides of the football. He plays offensive guard, defensive tackle, and this kid is just a sophomore, and he had made tremendous improvement from last year. One of the biggest things was his conditioning, and of course, we got Tyler Johnson playing both ways, and the entire offensive line. I was just proud of them, because, like I said, we only got one kid back that started last year, and all the rest of the guys on the offensive line are new, and they were able to protect the quarterback pretty good, and I think that's going to be a plus for us down the road.
You talked about Tay Miller. You talk about his versatility, because you use him on offense, you use him in the special teams game as well.
Right, and we can also use him on defense, but we're trying to develop younger guys. He played safety for me for 2 years. He started his 9th grade safety and played some receiving, then we played him in spots last year, and we can use him anyway. He played some quarterback for us too, and I'm just proud of the way they all coming around, because we got some guys, and I think once they get a little bit deeper into the season, I feel like we're going to be a little bit more comfortable, and they're going to be all right.
Absolutely. Coming up in week 3, another big region game for the Anniston Bulldogs. We'll talk the Bulldogs matchup against Hayden coming up next here on the Bulldog Blitz. Welcome back to the Bulldog Blitz. We're in with Anniston head coach Eddie Bullock. And coach, you move in from week 1 of the region to week 2 of the region. Another opponent that you're not very familiar with in Hayden. You had Mortimer Jordan, you have Hayden. Of course, it's a new classification in 5A Region 6. Just talk about what you know so far. It might be, just the initial stage of really learning who they are too.
Right. We actually exchanged film, and I saw some game footage of them, against Alexandria and against West Point, and basically I saw a spread team, and very feisty team. I don't think the record is indicative of how they play. They, to my understanding, they kind of been down a little bit the last 2 years, but what I saw on film, they pretty similar to all the rest of the teams that we got to play in that region. So, in my mind, I can't see where you can kind of let your guards down. You got to kind of prepare. You can't look at their record and just feel like you go out and get a victory. So, we preparing for them like we do everybody else.
The way the region schedule is set up, you play region game week 2, week 3, week 4, before you get out of the region in week 5. Just talk about just that kind of the mentality of, hey, you just have to, keep grinding out when it comes to region games.
Well, you just have to do it, especially with stepping up in classification. That's kind of tough on us too, because I think when you step up in classification, you got more athletes to choose from, and the game may get a little bit faster. But, I think once we get used to playing, at that level, we should be all right. And, earlier in that, of course, we got Lincoln in the first half of the regional playoff. So, I think that we'll be a little bit familiar with them, but the, problem is you got to go on the road and play them. We had to go on the road and play them last year, and of course, Lincoln always is a tough team. So, we kind of, you just got to grind each week. You know,
Yeah.
you just got to get your mind ready to go out for that tough grind.
When you address your team about these region games, does playoffs even come up, or is it more so, you know, just take it week by week, or how do you approach that as it? Because, you know, obviously games in week 2 and week 3 can have, you know, big implications for week 9 and week 10.
Well, that happened to us last year. We were actually tied for the 4th spot, but because we had lost some key games earlier in the region, we weren't able to go because teams had tiebreakers on us head to head. And, you know, it's definitely important, but I try not to even discuss the playoffs with them. I try to take week by week, you know, game by game, you know, and if you take care of game by game, I think the playoffs will take care of itself. But, you know, you can't look down the road and you're not taking care of business right now. So, you know, that's a key for us, is that we just got to take it week by week, you know, with us already being 0-2, we need to try to, you know, get a win on our belt, and I think from there everything else will fall into place.
When you take a look at this region overall, take a look at some of the teams you might have seen some passing camp or whatever, are the teams bigger? Everybody thinks, you know, Class 5A comes with a certain brand of football. Early impressions so far of Class 5A?
Well, I think size-wise, they may be a little bit bigger, you know, because like I said, they got a lot more to choose from.
Right.
But as far as speed, you know, right now I hadn't seen anyone, you know, that's as fast as we are. You know, our speed can compare with any of them. But, you know, when you got 80-plus players, you know, of course you're going to have some bigger kids that you can choose from, you know, and that's the only big difference that I've seen so far. I hadn't seen anybody that's just had blazing speed or something that made them stand out. You know, it's just, you know, the size factor. You know, Mortimer Jordan had a pretty good size line, you know, and compared to our line.
Right.
And it's just something you have to get used to.
Obviously, that first game was against a non-region opponent. Now you have a region opponent coming back home. Talk about playing that game at Lock Mosby Memorial, knowing that it's a region game as well.
Well, you know, I think it's a must-win situation for us to kind of keep our name in the hat. You know, we need to get off to a good start, and you know, it's an opportunity for us playing at home to have a home crowd behind you, know, and just, you know, rally behind the troops and just all come together and try to get your win, you know, before you go on the road again, because, you know, unfortunately, you know, at home on the road, and then we're on the road and then at home, and then we got to go on the road again. So,
right.
You know, we just got to try to pull it together.
And actually, last year you actually did really well on the road, you know,
Right,
and actually a lot better than most teams do away
Right.
from their own home crowd.
Well, we've always played well on the road, and I prided my team in that. You know, we may lose one game, but for the most part, we have a better winning record on the road than we did at home, and that's something that I told you last year that we needed to fix, because my first year we actually had a great home and a great road record. So, you know, you always need to take care of business at home, but if you can take care of 50% of it on the road, you're going to be in good shape.
Absolutely. Let's see if they can get back in gear next week at home as they face Hayden in week 2 of region play, week 3 of the high school football season. Thank you for joining us here on the Bulldog Blitz. For head coach Eddie Bullock and our entire hard-working crew, we'll see you next week right here on the Bulldog Blitz.